So today we're going to have a look at book 13, the practice questions from the Cambridge book. Now, you know the structure, okay? We have test 1, 2, 3 and 4 for academic students. We have A, B, C and D for general students. So the first bit of the lesson would focus on the academic students, and when I come to the end of test 4, then you can start watching if you're a general IELTS candidate. So here we have two maps and they show the road access to a city hospital in 2007 and in 2010. Okay, so this is 2007, this is 2010. Here is a city hospital, and here you can see that this is the bus stop, right? So you had the bus stop here, here, here along it, right? And then you had a car park for the staff as well as the public. And then you had the city road. However, now there's a separate entrance, a separate public car park. There's a ring road, separate park for the staff. The bus station is also there. The city road is also there. There's a roundabout now. There are actually two roundabouts. I'd like you to do it on your own. Take 20 minutes. Off you go. All right. So I hope you would have written an answer. Let's have a look at an answer together. Okay. So the two maps presented describe the changes that took place at a city hospital from 2007 to 2010. Overall, it is apparent that changes in the infrastructure has taken place. Additional public parking construction of a nearby bus stand or bus station and new roundabouts are visible. Surrounding the hospital road, surrounding the hospital was ring road. Which was connected City Road by Hospital Road. By 2010, two roundabouts had been added at the junctions of Hospital Road with Ring Road and with City Road respectively. There was a car park for staff and the public on the southeast side of Ring Road in 2007. However, by 2010, it had become a staff-only car park and a new public one had been built on the east side of the road. The bus stops at, or let's say the bus stops on both sides of Hospital Road was replaced, or bus stops, so it should be were replaced by a large, it's not writing, large bus station which had direct access to the editor මාත් එක්ක ගන්න written it in, I've given the intro, written the overall view, and then I've written 3 body paras to talk about the different changes that have happened. You can choose to write it in 2, right? Maybe 2007 and then in comparison to that 2010, right? It's totally up to you. So let's have a look at task 2. Now here, living in a country where you have to speak a foreign language can cause serious problems as well as practical problems. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? So it is an opinionated essay. Oops. Think about it, plan your answer and start writing, okay? So now you know it. We've done so many books, so I'm not going to sit and plan and, go through with it. So I want you to now start doing things on your own, okay? So off you go. Pause the video for 40 minutes and start doing it. Now you're in your advanced level, so it's a matter of you sitting and doing all the work and making sure that you get your work assessed is very important. Off you go. Right, so hopefully you have written an answer. Now let's have a look at a sample answer. It is said that in a country where speaking a foreign language immigrants are faced with various problems in society. I strongly agree with this statement. And this essay will outline some main reasons. We'll outline some main reasons. Firstly, speaking a country language would help people to communicate with local dwellers. Communication not only helps foreigners to make friends but also to expand their social life. In other words, lack of friendship leads to feeling lonely. For instance, a person living in a new country when attending a party is less likely to experience joyful moments as a result. They could not understand completely what others are talking about. Hence, speaking a local language plays an important role in socializing. Secondly, it is undeniable that speaking a foreign language has essential effects on day-to-day activities. So here you can then talk about going shopping, okay, when you want to buy a product, maybe when you want to go to the bakery and buy something. Being able to speak in that local language or the foreign language is very important, okay? So you can explain more about it. And then finally, I would write in conclusion and write a summary and remind the reader about my opinion, okay? So I think you are able to do this on your own now. I've just given you some guidelines and some points so that it will actually help you. Right, so let's move on with test number 2. You have a chart below and it shows the percentage of household owned and rented accommodation in England and Wales. Okay, so household owned in accommodation, households in rented accommodation in England and Wales, 1918 to 2011. I'd like you to take 20 minutes and write an answer. Off you go. Right, so the bar chart describes the percentage of households owned and rented accommodation in England and Wales between 1918 and 2011. Overall, while the percentage of households renting accommodation decreased, the percentage of owning a house increased over the course, we can say over the course of this 93-year period. Before 1971, there were more households renting than owning. After that, the reverse was true. The reverse was seen. So, in 1918, approximately 75% of households lived in rented accommodation. However, this number dropped significantly to just over 30% in 2001 before climbing slightly to about 35% in 2011. Next para. Only around a quarter of households were owner-occupied in 1918. Nevertheless, this proportion started to increase and became the same proportion became the same as the proportion of households that were renter-occupied in 1971 at 50%. Ownership then continued to rise and reached its peak in 2001 at just under 70%. After that, it only experienced a small or a slight fall or drop to roughly 65% in. Right, so here I have given you a sample, right? Again, intro. Overall, body 1, I spoke about rented accommodation and then about ownership accommodation, okay, owned accommodation. So hopefully you've written something similar to this. Let's have a look at the next one, test 2, writing task 2. So some people believe that nowadays we have too many choices. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So off you go, take 40 minutes and write an answer. Make sure to plan your answer before you start. Right, so let us have a look at a sample answer that a student has written. Now here, I'd like you to read this answer on your own and then think, what kind of score would the student get? Okay, so here the student would get a 7 because of the content, the coherence and cohesion, the cohesive devices, the use of language used, right? So take a look at the marking descriptors and then see, okay, rather the band descriptors, and then see, okay, why is the student getting 7? What are the positive features here? Okay? And if you have written something else, that's perfectly fine, right? It's just that you need to make sure you get it assessed. All right, so moving on into academic writing task 1. Right, so I hope you would have finished writing an answer. Let's just try to write an answer together for this, okay? So, the bar chart shows 10 countries that made and used the largest amount of electricity in 2014. Overall, China and United States led in both electricity output and use. Generation exceeded consumption in all the countries except Germany. At 5,398 and 5,322 billion kilowatts, China generated and used more power than any other countries. The United States was the second largest producer and consumer of power at 4099 and 3866 billion kilowatts respectively. Of the other 8 countries, Russia was the only country whose output and consumption were over 1000 billion kilowatts at 1057 and 1038 billion kilowatt respectively. In comparison, the corresponding figures for the Republic of Korea were only 485.1 and 449.5 billion kilowatts, making it the smallest electricity producing and consuming country. In terms of Japan, India, Canada, France, and Brazil. No, we have Germany as well. We have France, Brazil, and Germany. Their outputs ranged from 526 to 937 watt. It should be billion kilowatt, while their usages ranged from 455 to 857 billion kilowatt. It is also noted that Germany was the only country that used more power than it generated at 5285.5 and 526.6 kilowatts respectively. So here again I have done the intro overall, and then the two countries that used most of the power, and then I spoke about the other countries, how they were working, okay, and then I spoke about how the least one was produced and used, and one thing which was different, that Germany was the only country that actually used more power than they generated, okay? All right, so let's have a look at the next task. Some people say that history is one of the most important school subjects, and other people think that in today's world, subjects like science and technology are important. So you're supposed to discuss both views and give your opinion. One view is that all the school subjects are more important, right? History is one of the most important subjects. View 2 is that others think no, science and technology is more important. So discuss both views and give your opinion. Off you go, take 40 minutes and jot down your answer. Alright, so I hope you would have finished writing your answer. Now let's have a look at a sample answer that a student has written. Now I want you to pause the video, right, and go through the answer. Okay? And then think, okay, how much would you give this student? What would you give? Write down a score. Now, I would actually give this student a 6 because of the student's task achievement, the progression, the use of language, okay, the use of words and the grammar sentence structures. Simple is accurate. Student is trying to use complex sentence structures even though they're not that accurate, okay? So I hope you have written a better answer if you want a band score of 7, okay? Now I like to show this because it gives you a chance to really sit down, read, take the band descriptors and match it against it and say, what are the features, what are the words that are good, okay? What are the words that need to improve? What are the sentences that can change in these answers? That's what you should be doing. That's why we put these answers for you to go through it and see what do you understand out of it, okay? So, with that, we come to the last test for you, and you're going to do this on your own, right? Here is your task 1. The plans below show the layout of a university sports center now and how it will look after its development. So I'd like you to take 20 minutes and do it on your own. Now, I'm not going to show a sample. It's for you to do for homework on your own. Right, so hopefully you do that. And meanwhile, let me show you your task 2 as well. In spite of the advances made in agriculture, many people around the world still go hungry. Why is this the case? What can be done about this problem? So, why is this the case? The causes and then the solutions. So, cause and solution kind of essay. Okay? So, I'd like you to do this as well for homework. So, if you're doing your academic test, then this is the end for you in this video, because the next bit I'm going to do it for the general IELTS candidates. Okay? Alright, so if you're taking the general IELTS component, then this is where the lesson starts for you. Task 1. You work for an international company and you would like to spend 6 months working in its head office in another country. Write a letter to your manager, formal, and tell him why you want to work in the head office, how your work would be done while you're away, and ask for his or her help in arranging it. So first, I'd like you to do it on your own, then I'll be writing a sample answer. Right, so let's have a look at a sample answer, right? So let's think my boss's name is Mr. Wilson. So, dear Mr. Wilson, I am writing this letter to express my concern in working at our company head office in the United Kingdom for a few months to further enhance my skills and get exposure to the global market trends of our products so that I can better contribute to my company and carry out my responsibilities more efficiently. As as you know, I have been promoted to the assistant product manager post and I am working hard to collaborate with my team to enhance the sales and increase our brand reputation. However, I have been, or let's say I feel the need to meet and work with our global team members, and attend some training sessions that our head office in London arranges frequently. I am quite positive that the opportunity to work in our company's head office for 6 months will further enhance my knowledge and skills. Next para, how we are going to sort it out. I have spoken to Julian and he has agreed to take up my responsibilities during my absence. Furthermore, I will check my mails, or you can say emails, daily and be available for emergency phone calls. Once I get back to the office, I would endeavor to work extra hours in order to catch up on anything I missed. Now you need to ask your boss to help. Finally, I would need your support to get approval so that I can work in our company's head office for 6 months and fulfill the objectives. I look forward to your positive response. Let's say I look forward to your positive response. Yours sincerely, William Smith. Okay, so here you have written to your boss, Mr. Wilson, about requesting to work 6 months abroad in your head office to get the necessary skills and exposure, right? So I have written it in 3 body paras. You can go through it and write a similar answer. Now moving into task 2, right? In some areas of the US, a curfew is imposed in which teenagers are not allowed to be out of doors after a particular time at night unless they are accompanied by an adult. What is your opinion about this, okay? Now, might not be a common fact in Sri Lanka, okay, because most of us, even when we are older, we go with our parents, but abroad, it's quite common to see youngsters going out alone even in the night, okay? So what do you think about this? Is it good or is it bad? Off you go, write it on your own. All right, so hopefully you've written an answer. Now I'd like to go through a sample answer of a student, okay? Read it through on your own. Oops. That's it. Okay, you can pause it, read it slowly. What kind of score would you give? I would give a 6.0 as a score because of the logical structure, the cohesive devices, mainly because of the language. Simple sentence structures are there, but complex seem to be a bit not so good, right? So think about it. Take the band descriptors. I've shown it to you. It's readily available to download online. Read it through, compare it against the answer. If you want a good band score, it's really important for you to understand what these descriptors mean, and that is why I encourage this activity a lot when you're in this specific level, which is the advanced level. Okay? All right, so we'll have a look at another task here. You recently organized an all-day meeting for your company, which took place in a local hotel. In their feedback, participants at the meeting said that they liked the hotel, but they were unhappy about the food that was served for lunch. So you need to write a letter to the manager of the hotel, which is a formal letter. In that, you need to say what the participants liked about the hotel, explain why they were unhappy about the food, and suggest what the manager should do to improve the food. So take 20 minutes and write down, and we're going to have a look at a student's sample and answer to, critique about it. You could always look at it and think, okay, what are the positives, what are the negatives, or what are the areas for improvement in that student's answer. Off you go. Right, so let's have a look at a sample. As I told you, I'd like you to read it through, okay? Now, if you read it through carefully, you can see that the vocabulary used is good. The range of sentences are good. Student is writing mixed of simple as well as complex, and they mostly seem to be accurate, okay? Clear progression is there of the answer. So this kind of answer would be a 7.0, okay? Cut. All right, so let's have a look at writing task 2, okay? Many working people get little or no experience either during the working day or in their free time and have health problems as a result. Ooh, quite scary, okay? Why do many working people not get enough exercise? What can be done about this problem, okay? So think about it and answer the essay question. You're going to get 40 minutes to do that. Now, you might be wondering, oh, why isn't she helping us? Because I've done so much of questions with you, and now it's your turn to keep on practicing, okay? And if you practice, that's where you can get a higher score. Off you go, 40 minutes. All right, so let's have a look at a sample that a student has written. I'd like you to pause it the same way and read it through. Now here, you can see that this isn't a great answer. The student hasn't answered all the parts for the question, okay? There's no clear progression. There's informal words used, right? And this kind of essay would give you a 5.5. Student is writing simple sentence structures, which is fairly okay, but again, problematic in some of the sentences, okay? So if you were to write something which is similar at this level, you would get a 5.5 band score for your writing, okay? So make sure to avoid these kind of answers, these kind of unclear answers which have no clear progression or structure. All right, so I'd like to give you test C and D for homework, so you can sit and actually write and make sure to get it assessed so someone actually sees it and tells you, okay, these are your errors, these are the areas for improvement, and this is good. So here you go, test C. Write a letter to the local council. In your letter, describe how the rubbish collection system is now working properly, right? And explain how this is affecting you and your neighbors. And suggest what should be done about the problem, okay? Describe how the rubbish collection system is not working properly, okay? It's not working properly. So you need to tell us about that, okay? So because they're collecting the rubbish and it's not really functioning, so you need to tell the council about it, okay? Right, and then you have task 2 here. Some people say that now we can see films on our phones or tablets. There is no need to go to the cinema. Others say to be fully enjoyed, films need to be seen in a cinema. Discuss both views and give your opinion. I would say going to the cinema is good. That is up to you. So for homework, you have one more, which is another letter. A friend, which is an informal letter. You made while you were studying abroad has written to you to ask for help finding a job in your country. You have heard about a job in a local company that might be suitable for him or her. So you're going to write a letter to your friend, telling your friend about the job and what sort of work that it involves. Say why you think the job would be suitable and explain how to apply for the job. So you can take 20 minutes, pause the video and then have a look at the last question, which is your essay question. Some people say it is important to keep your home and your workplace tidy with everything organized in the correct place. What is your opinion about it? Okay, so this is an opinionated essay. You can write what you feel about it. So that was quite a long lesson for you, right? And I've given you some homework if you were a general IELTS candidate. If you were doing academic as well, you've got homework. So with that, we come to the end of the discussion that we had about Book 13, which had a lot of practice questions.